So that video you just saw there was crazy, right? Didn't it almost look like there were trenches, a Soviet trench and a German trench? And how crazy was it that the Soviets were so desperate to win this battle that they were literally sending soldiers in to fight without weapons? What you were looking at there is the amazing turning point that takes place, the Battle of Stalingrad. This was a key city full of industry, and it controlled river access to the interior of the Soviet Union. It was a turning point because it was like a 6-month long battle where there was a vicious winner, where the Germans had been on the edge of victory, and the Soviets just poured man after man after man constantly into this meat grinder of a battle. You can see the image here of what was remaining of some of this city. It literally was some of the fiercest fighting humanity had ever undertaken. It was house by house, building by building, block by block. And where it wasn't like that, it was like World War I, where you had these rubble trenches built up instead of dug down, where you would charge across this no man's land between a German bloc and a Soviet bloc, where you would hopefully survive until the next charge. A surprise Soviet attack, 6 months of just combat wearing down the Germans leads them to surrender. And it was a turning point in the war in Europe. And it shows, I think, too, importantly, that for the first time, German generals disobeyed Hitler and refused to surrender. It's the first hint that Hitler's totalitarian rule is not as absolute as it once was. Combine this with other defeats, like a retreat from Leningrad, which we call St. Petersburg now, and the Soviets were able to stop the German advance. Combine that with our attacks in Italy, North Africa, the Soviets are going to be finally able to push back. It's going to make a big difference. On the next slide, I'm going to show you something. I'm going to ask you what you think it is, what's going on and why. I bet you'll get it. Some of you anyway, I'm sure will get it. Most of you will probably have, I think, a hint. And after that, we'll talk about how the war in Europe kind of comes to an end.